Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Monday here at Adobe Live on Behance. How are you doing? I hope you're all really well today. I can see everybody in the chat, and I'm glad that you're all here because we have got an amazing artist here ready for you today to welcome Greta Samuel. Greta, welcome to Adobe Live.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks, Maddy, for supporting me here. And I'm really glad to spend the next hour with you guys. So
I can't wait. Yeah, this is going to be so good because, of course, we kicked off some really great, drawings last week on Adobe Live with Ego, and we got into some portrait. And today we've got very much of the same, really. If you're looking to get into drawing and starting and getting some inspiration, then Greta's got some amazing things to share with you today. Join in the chat if you've got any questions for Greta today. We're chatting in Behance, so behance.net/live. And I want to say hello to everybody I can see in there already. I can see Andreas, I can see Stuart, I can see, here we go, Sandrine and Gareth. And actually, quick shout out to Sandrine, to Gareth, to Stuart and Jackie for continuing your 36 days of type. I've seen these on Instagram and they're looking absolutely amazing. So well done to keep that going. I think we're on letter V at the moment with that. But yes, get your questions in for Greta today. And Greta and I connected on email probably about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. And Greta started to share some of her work. And I've had a look through, and I know Tim's going to put the links to Greta's profiles in Behance and portfolio and that in the chat. Greta, you've done some amazing work. Absolutely amazing.
Thanks, Maddy. Thanks for the for all the kind words and all the support that you're giving me right now. I'm illustrator for around 8 years right now. So I was freelancing. I'm freelancing all the time, but also I was working as an in-house illustrator, as a senior illustrator as well. For the company. I was also an educator, so I was a teacher assistant in Academy of Fine Arts. I also finished the same academy, so around in 2015. So I was teaching illustration as well. But also I was an educator in lithography studio. So I was showing how to do a proper lithography print. So I was drawing on a huge stones and just printing with the very old printing machines, with 100 years old. Right now I'm happy to be here and show some tips for you guys. So if you have any questions about how I'm doing my work, or to ask any tips, just go ahead, and I'm happy to be here and say something in inspiration for you guys.
Amazing. And there's so many tips. I mean, I know that in the rehearsal we spoke about a few things that we'll touch on today. And if you've ever wondered how to get perfect palette of colors and good swatches of colors, Greta's got some great tips for you there, which we're going to show as well. And Greta, let's start by showing some of your work and showing telling people a little bit about what you do and the type of work that art that you create.
Yeah, sure. So in the beginning, I wanted to show you my my website. So it's gretasamuel.com. So you can find in the first page a lot of my illustrations when I done it. As a freelance and as an in-house illustrator. So I think my first recognition on Behance was about the comic that I did in lithography stones, but then it comes other, for example, comics or even city views. So I can just jump on here. So you can see the illustration that I did for other companies. And I'm super happy that I built my my portfolio on Behance with time, and and right now I think this is one of my one of my main pages, and sometimes clients are just talking to me, oh, I saw your works on Behance and this is how I found you. So sometimes Behance are more popular than my own website, which I'm happy as well about that. This is the new work that I updated like a few days ago. This is like you can see another portrait, so it's pretty in the theme that we are today. So yeah, you can see some objects, because I really enjoy to draw the backgrounds as well and the objects. So yeah, this is one of the Maddy's favorites. So the series illustration for the Asia.
Yeah, I love these. Honestly, I mean, where do you get your inspiration from? Because you actually talk about different places a lot through your portfolio in different countries. Have you traveled to all of these countries? Is this where you get your inspiration? Or?
I wish to travel more, and maybe that's some kind of the inspiration comes from the willingness for travel. But the thing is, as an illustrator, I need to be more, stick to the computer and to the like a more comfortable place to draw. But also I was working for the company Culture Trip, and they gave like a lot of articles based on the different countries, different cultures. It was amazing to like work for them and prepare all those amazing illustrations. And also I'm a big fan of Japanese pop culture. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of Japanese cartoons and then like animation. So my inspiration goes from this area as well. So like Akira, or for example Ghost in the Shell, it's really my cup of tea. So yeah, so that's the huge part for my inspiration. But also about the colors, because we started to talk about that. So I have a great tip for you guys. If you have like a good inspiration, I highly recommend the book A Directory of Color Combinations. This is like small Japanese book, like showing some nice colors combinations, but I'm using sometimes when I'm stuck with the idea, or sometimes it makes me like inspired by something. This is like a really nice palette that I really enjoy, and you can see like a lot of red and pinkish and in my work. This is like another a second volume about that, and here you can find also like another another color combinations. But also in this one, it goes like with the Japanese patterns, like how they mix colors and how they work with them. So I highly recommend it. I have those books still around my desk. So if I'm not sure about the color or is it fit together with something, I'm using this book like all the time. So yeah, so highly recommend them.
That's so good, because sometimes you can spend such a long time just trying to make a good swatch of colors and not bring in too many, and try to keep it simple. And people know I use a lot of bright colors. So it's, that book for me would just be amazing. And I think it's a great tip to share. And there was a couple of things in the chat actually to mention to you. So Stuart asked or said he'd be interested to learn how you create your tone textures and apply them, because your work's amazing.
Yeah, so I will definitely show it when we're going to start our portrait. In the beginning, I can tell you guys that I work a lot of opacity and with the different brushes. So I will show you like everything step by step when we're going to start. But yeah, to be, I'm using like very small amount of brushes, to be honest. So like 2, 3, 4 brushes, that's like definitely maximum. But when you choose like small amount, you can like use it very in a different way. And the shades I'm doing just adding another layer with the opacity. But that we can like do all together in the next in the next couple of minutes. So I'm happy to just show it.
Amazing. And then I think what we'll do, we'll follow up the stream with a link to the book that Greta mentioned. So I know there was a question about that in the chat. So we'll follow up. Yeah. We'll pop that in Discord after. And we always chat on Discord following the stream, by the way. So if anybody wants to keep that going, then Tim can paste the Discord link in the chat for you today. So, Greta, so obviously all of this work must take a lot of time. And I know we've got an hour today, and I know you've prepared something for us to work on in the stream. But how long would you normally spend on a project like this? Like if you look at the Arctic Travel, that new image that you've just uploaded, how long would that take?
Yeah, so it really depends because sometimes, for example, when I'm working for as a freelancer for the magazine, not always I have this comfortable time to spend. So sometimes, it's very I don't have much time. So I need to sometimes read off some details and work more on the shape. So for example, this one I made for 8 hours. It was made for Amnesty International. I'm supposed to do some keyframes for animations. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about the effect because usually I'm working with the line. So as you can see here, it's line work, but most of it is like a shape. And this is something that I really enjoy. But as you can see, even this simple stuff, it took me some time, some hours. When we talk about more detailed work with the lines, it then took even longer because here we can have some object as well. So I think it took me 12 hours, two days of work, so 16 hours to work, because sometimes you can start with I need to start with the composition, with the sketch, so testing colors. Sometimes I need to go back. Sometimes, when I starting to work, I realize, okay, it's not working too good. I need to go back and try something new. But basically, yeah, it took some time, but the effect is quite good. So I think I really enjoy to work with the more details, and then I have the satisfaction in the end. But also a quick work with the shape, just like I did from Amnesty International. It makes me happy as well. So who knows? I'm trying to sometimes to combine those two styles, or as you can see, I even try work in more a comic way. So this is one illustration that I did from completely different style, but also I really enjoy it. And here you can see less lines, but more shapes, and some of typography as well. So it's really, the time really depends on what I wanted to draw. So if we have a background and person, it definitely takes longer than just the person. Or for example, here I did this illustration for a cultural trip as well, and it was one header and spots. And for example, this one will took me little bit less than the previous one, because here we have only the hand and the part of the face. But for example, here it's more detailed because we have more objects and face. And to be honest, I will probably, if I have more time, I will spend more on the hair. It will be more detailed, but because there was a deadline, so I have to hit. And yeah, I need to make some shortcuts, still looking good, but I probably work more on the details if I have time.
I just love the detail in his shirt, all of that kind of paisley pattern. It's just, the detail is just amazing.
Yeah, so the detail, I didn't do it. So that's about the article. So the article is about Adam Furman. And he's architecture and traveler, and my work was to show him as in the portrait, but also the object that he's used on the travel. So his favorite thing. So this shirt is dedicated, his shirt from the brand that he's using. So I have to use a photo and just put it, on the as a pattern on my drawing. So if I would like to make a copy of it, probably it will be not so perfect than in original, and it will take me even longer. So I just using reference photo and just put it here. But the other stuff, I just draw it again.
And there was a question in the chat that came up about where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm from Poland, and I finished in Poland Academy of Fine Arts in Warsaw, and I was working there for 3 years, like as an assistant in illustration studio and in photography studio. And then I just relocated to London in 2016. Yep, and right now I'm working here, and I'm living as well in Acton. When we just realized with Maddy that we have like a small connection here.
I know that it's a small world, isn't it? It totally is. There is a question in regards to one of the images that you shared. Gareth asked, overprint. Did Greta do that in Illustrator? So are you using Illustrator as well as Photoshop?
I'm using Photoshop, but for example, in the beginning, I was using Illustrator as my tool. I don't know if I'm here. Oh yeah, for example, this thing I done it's a book for children, but I did it all of it in Illustrator. So I can see it has totally different style, but also my job was to build like a more simple illustration for children. So like it's supposed to have like less details. But this I done it in Illustrator, but then I realized that oh, and this one I done also in Illustrator. I think this is for the article about a problem with the skin for the Polish magazine. So it's more like shapes, as you can see, and less lines. Also, this one is made in Illustrator. I think illustration is it's also editorial. But then I was just jumping to Photoshop. Oh, I think this one is also in Illustrator. I done it. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, but then like Photoshop, it's just my tool, guys, because maybe it's because it reminds you like drawing on the paper and less like vector things. So in this way, I really enjoy Photoshop, and sometimes I can mix it, but still I can realize that it's faster for me to do some things. Even I suppose do it on Illustrator, but like I still doing this in the Photoshop, because when you master one tool, you can do like everything and some kind of mimic the technique that you would like to have. So for example, I remember this question once asked me. Is this illustration? I think on my website. Oh yeah, about this illustration. Did I did it in which program? And I did it in Photoshop as well. So it looks like in Illustrator, because like it's look like this, but it's still I done it in the Photoshop. So this is like step by step. So but in the future I realized that maybe the time will come, but right now I'm just I'm comfortable with the Photoshop.
Yeah, no, it looks good. One of your images there looks a little bit like Rufus from our Adobe Live things. Amazing. No, I love it. So your work, you can see here, you're very, very good at what you do. And as you said, you do love a lot, working in Photoshop. What tools do you use then? I take it you're drawing on an iPad, or are you drawing? What do you use? I'm
using tablet, just like Wacom tablet, like really super basic one. This one, and I'm really it's the basic tool for me. I was trying with Apple iPad. I'm considering to get it in the future, but I think in the future I'm also considering to get like a bigger tablet, like a Cintiq or something. But still I think tablet doesn't matter so much. I think if you have this willingness to do illustration, I think any tool is good. I mean, I'm the fan of if you're a starter, just don't think that if you get the most expensive tablet is going to do the work, because you need to like draw a lot, and then you can suit the best tool for you, because sometimes you realize, okay, maybe iPad is just the perfect for me, or maybe the huge tablet, 24 inches or maybe 30, it's going to be it's going to be good for you. So with time, you just realize which tool is for you the best. But in the beginning, just draw as much as you can with any tool. It doesn't have to be digital. Just go it on the paper. If you're good on the paper, you're gonna be good as well with the tablet. Or you can go straight away with the tablet. But then it's good to like jump on the paper as well and feel how your hand is working on any surface. So this is what I will say about the the tool.
No, good tips. And Stuart in the chat says that he loves the overprint retro style. Those colors, inspiration for today's type. Colors are.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this comment. Because as I told you, guys, I was working in the lithography studio as an educator and as assistant, and I'm a huge fan of like vintage graphics, like vintage old graphic masters. And I love to have this retro style in my illustrations, and this texture that I'm using a lot, with like plenty of dots. It reminds me like lithography stone a little bit. So I'm using this a lot, and also like designing from 50s, 60s, even 30s. I really enjoy it, and it's a great inspiration for me. So thank you for that comment.
I know, it's all good. And if you've any other questions for Greta today, get them in the chat. We're chatting in Behance. So if you're watching on YouTube, come over to Behance. It's behance.net/live, and get your questions answered. Greta, let's jump into Photoshop and look at what we're going to prepare
definitely. Because I wanted to show you guys how I build my illustration, because we don't have much time. So as you told you guys, like sometimes I work like many hours on one illustration, so we don't have this much time. But I prepare for you some tips, and I hope I'm gonna finish something on the other illustration. But for now, I wanted to show you how I build the layers and how it looks like on the ready illustration that I spent already some time. Like for example, this one. So this illustration is like a fashion illustration. I did it for Culture Trip. And as you can see, the article was about the vintage fashion from the Burberry. So I need to make a research and find, some vintage clothing and choose which is the best one and which is the most recognizable. And in the beginning, maybe I will just read up read up this one. I will show the background and I will show you the references. So here is the code for me that I find, and I thought it would be amazing to use because we can see the amazing pattern, which is really recognizable, and everyone knows the colors and the shape. So for me, the code was just perfect. And here was the girl for me for the reference. As you can see, it's not exactly the same that in my drawing, because sometimes I'm starting with a portrait and I go with the flow. When I get the proportions, when I get the, some kind of basic stuff, I go with the flow and I fit the drawing to my composition and to my idea. So it doesn't like 100%, like in the photo, but for me, it's also like huge inspiration and make my work faster in a way. Here is a poster from 30s, which I was using on my illustration. So this is also, as you can see, I just changed some details, but basically I use it as my reference, and also like a pattern, so you can see that to understand well how it's built and how I can use it. Do not make any mistake, because guys, this is about Burberry and vintage clothing, so I cannot make any mistake to show the pattern, because other people can like see for the first time, for example, what's the Burberry and what's the pattern from. So for me, it's very important to be accurate, and that other can not only it's beautiful illustration, but also like learn something a little bit that it makes it has some information in it as well. So for me, like make a good research is very important. And so that's the final, that's the last look. I'm going to remove it. And here, for example, is the girl. So just the layer of the girl. Here you can see that the hair is not finished, because here is going to be the poster but you can see that when I'm removing like layers step by step. So here's the shadow on the coat. I'm just remove it. The eye bleed, you can see that I'm just typing in, it's visible and not, and you can see that the eyes have this little bit white dots. And here like another shading. So you can see that there's like a lot of layers, because also as you can see, I'm putting, this is like another layer with the hair, because I have to split it in the way, because first part is going under another layer and this part goes up to another layer, so I have to split it. So that's why it looks like this. Here is like a line work for the coat. You can see it, how it goes. This is like the elements from the pattern.
That looks good.
Next layer.
What's the like approval process then? If you're working with like a big brand like Burberry, do they often check in on your design to see how it's coming together, if they want to change things, or, you know, they might say like, you know, we need to change the hair because we want our ladies to look more, you know, like does this happen? Do you have a lot of back and forth or not?
I mean, for this particular illustration, I did it for the culture trip. So still, it's not from the Burberry's original, but it's about Burberry. But with my art director, he was happy with the effect. For him, was the most important to not make any mistakes, you know, with the pattern. And but you know, we didn't have any expert of anyone from you know, from the Burberry. So we just need to find a good references to, you know, to be accurate with our work. And you can see the head is pretty it's pretty big. I was covering the color on the under the hair as well. So that's why it's this size. So as you can see, it has like many different layers. Here you can see the shading, right? How it goes. So, you know, it's a lot of work, and then just go back again and see it through. And, you know, I'm just typing
so many
again.
Layers. And how long did this take you?
Oh, I think it was 2 days, definitely, because it was with the background as well.
Yeah.
So 2-3 days. When I'm talking about the days, I'm talking about the 8 hours working day. So, for example, one day is for me like 8 hours. And also, it's good to have this kind of thinking when, you know, when some other like company is going to ask you how long it will take you, or what is your rate and all this stuff. So it's good to use this this language. And here we're going with the background, so with the papers on the top. So as you can see, I'm adding some tags, and I'm adding next layers of the paper. And here is the shading. Here is like another. Sometimes you can see that the layers are pretty rough, because I know that next to the is going to be next layer, which will cover the roughness. And especially because it's not illustration for animation, for example, when I'm doing this one, every layer has to be perfect. But if there is no need to animation, so it's need to be just perfect on the first view. So sometimes layer can be like really, you know, rough. And thanks to this, I'm speeding, so I'm finishing faster. Otherwise, if I will work on every layer perfectly, probably my work will spend much more time, which is like unnecessary, because client or the viewer will not gonna see it anyway, because it's gonna be covered with a different layer. Okay.
It's so good altogether. The colors are really great as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, I really like bright colors, because it will bring the composition very quickly with a good effect. And when you have a line work, it will separate really nicely, because when you have two bright colors, it doesn't work too much. You need to have like this structure. So the lines, like darker lines, or work pretty good with the light colors. And as you can see, I really enjoy the red and the pink and like brownie. And so the red, like, you know, like really light red is really something that I really enjoy it.
It's lovely. It matches the red from the Burberry though, so it's really well, pulled in.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, exactly. So it fits perfectly in this situation. And here you can see like another brushing, another layers that I'm adding. So here you can see there's just the opacity of the color and the paint, and here is the here is the final, and some touching. So like make a shadow under the paper, under the poster. All right.
It's so good when all of that together there. It just looks, it's so good.
Even such a yeah.
And what you've prepared to draw today is, you showed a couple of layers in our rehearsal just before we went live. And your portrait work, your drawing people is so good. And I wanted to know, do you do a lot of, portrait? Do you attend a lot of, do you do a lot of still drawing? Do you, draw portraits often?
Yes.
Get that good? Because you're really good.
Yeah, I really enjoy. Maybe I will show you. It's a good topic to talk because to today's portrait, but I'm not gonna do in the final way, but I will do some objects, and you can see how I work with the brushes and with the color. Yeah. But for example, this girl I picked from Pinterest. As you can see, it's the quality of the photo. It doesn't have to be great. But still, I'm a great fan of just looking of fashion photography, of any other photography, of cinema, like to observe how the light is going, how the composition. I really enjoyed old movies. I'm doing some screenshots and just learning how it's going through, because it's not only about the portrait, but about the person. So the surrounding of the person, the object that the person is using. So there's like a lot of things that I'm really curious about and what I'm like creating. So for example, this is what I've done like previously to show you guys to understand how I'm trying to learn the person that I'm catch from the internet, and I'm really into it. So I make some kind of studies with the line, with the with the shade, and with the to learn some how to draw it like in a correct way, but not only to make a copy in 100%, but just to get like an inspiration about the person. But also I really enjoy to draw like outside and go to the park and just observe the people, how they talking, how they sitting, how they drinking. So most of the time I'm not talk too much, as today I'm just sitting around and just observing. I really enjoy to observe people. But not only people, not only people. Sometimes I can go back from work or just have a walk or hiking, and I'm just like amazed by the light in the trees, or amazed by the light in the street, or on the people, or even someone has a great pattern on the shirt. I say, wow, this is amazing. I would like to have it on my drawing, or somehow like make it stay, this impression stay and show with other people. And that's why I'm trying to do illustration, because it's not only to do the job for the company, it's also I like to do it. I like to share my inspiration, share the things that I saw on the street, and to get other people to see it.
So do you take a camera with you? Do you take photos of all of these things?
I was doing that. So for example, because still photo will not give you this 100% impression. It still need to go from your head and, from your heart. And then like the final illustration sometimes can be different from the photo, but still it's get this inspiration, So, but like making photos even from the simple iPhone, or like simple phone, and it's gonna be good. Especially that also in the beginning I was studying cinematography. So but it wasn't for me. I prefer, for example, build the scene on the paper, on the with the drawing, than actually build it with the people and with the light. It's faster for me to draw it than actually prepare it with other people, maybe because I'm just a little bit introverted and I'm not used to get like everything prepared like with others. It's great to have a teamwork. I just work with other illustrators as a senior. I just enjoy to create, the 2D stuff. So this is like something that I really enjoy it. And and sometimes inspiration can come from completely strange things. So like magazines, like real life, movies, everything. Yeah.
It's good to see this process like this with all of these different stages about how you bring in color and how you're coloring that in.
Obviously, guys, I'm not doing this with every illustration. Just like I told you, sometimes when like I have a quick deadline, I cannot do this. Like I have to be quick and I have to jump like straight away. So I need to like make some shortcuts. So I definitely like trying to build the light proportion and all this stuff. So it has to be quicker. But when I have time, and for example, for my own work, I'm definitely starting to get to know the person that I want to draw. For example, it can be a strange person, but for me, I would like to like create a person in my mind, and then it's easy to draw it, and the final effect can be completely different. Then it's gonna be like like okay, let's do another one, or like in a fabric or something. So this is the beginning so this is the first one. I just grabbed it from Pinterest, and this is the second step. So I'm trying to build from the line. So where's the eyes, mouth, and all the stuff, more details like shading with the lines, and trying to find where the light coming. And here is like more with the color and with the shape, and here is like more details, and here is like the final sketch that I'm happy with it, and here is like more colors adding here.
Amazing.
And the final stage we are getting here, guys. So this is the illustration that I'm gonna look and just get know her. If I'm struggling with something, I'm just coming back, okay, so her hair looks like this, and I need to like check something. But sometimes, guys, you go with the flow and you just don't need the photo anymore, because you're on this stage that you just having fun with the with the stuff that you already draw. So it depends. And sometimes, for instance, when you work for a client, then you have like specific thing to draw. You need to have definitely like the some kind of reference photo with you all the time. But with the portraits, it's really go with the flow, and sometimes at the end it can be completely different than some kind of reference, which is pretty cool. I really like it.
I like the way that it moves though, and you get, as you say, as you get further into it, you don't need the picture anymore.
Exactly.
In. And Pablo in the chat says that he'll apply these tips to his work, and Kirsty says I will have to try these because they will help me draw better.
Guys, amazing. I'm super happy. I'm super happy. Sometimes.
Oh, well, I was going to ask you, Greta, what tips would you have for people where you don't, you're not really, you feel that you've not been given enough time and that you have to rush something? What tips do you give to people that have been given a very tight deadline to draw?
Well, when you have a deadline and you work for the client, you need to do a good job for them. This is something that you have to concentrate. It's less about you. It's because you are providing illustration for someone. So if you have not much time, please concentrate of all the directions that our director just give you. If you have some idea, please discuss it with your art director like Ilya. But then please concentrate on all the stuff that that you have on your brief, and just keep going. Just think about the final effect, because sometimes you don't need those all stages. Sometimes you just jump and okay, this is illustration about for example fashion, so I know I need to concentrate on the patterns, I need to concentrate on on the hair. Think about it. Why I'm doing this illustration, for who, and what will be, it's going to be in an article, because sometimes, for example, if the illustration is about the fashion, I don't need to spend so much time in the background, for example. So try to reduce the time spent on the things which are not on the top list. So then I think it could be, it can be good. If you have like more time, because for example, I realized I finished earlier with the top things, then you can come back and just make some, you know, some details or like a background. But please do it when you're sure that you hit the most important, you know, points from your brief. I think this is the best advice.
Good tips. That's good. Yeah, good to tell. And Luca would like to know as well, what do you like to draw the most? And what do you always try to integrate into your work? Or if you like drawing those things the most, do you integrate?
Well, sure. So just like I told you, I really enjoy to draw people and like study the, you know, how they look like, what is the surroundings, what they're doing, what they're eating, what they're wearing. So it's so hard to pick one thing. Sometimes one thing can be inspiration for the bigger picture. Sometimes it can be an inspiration for the whole story, which I really enjoy to like have a comic book in the future. But also, you know, it's like I'm trying to be, I'm not fixed with the one thing. I'm trying to get inspiration from the outside, you know, and then I put my imagination into it. So I'm pretty open for the, you know, I think the best word, it will be just be curious. Be curious about the people, about the places, about the colors, about the patterns, about the things, about the animals, light, and then you're gonna finish with the amazing work.
I do love that you take all this inspiration from all of the things around you, because I think it's quite easy sometimes to get the tunnel vision and just, you know, go with the things on the to-do list, that like the hit list, the bits to do, and you're not taking anything else. I love that you're taking all of that in. I love that.
Yeah, because then when you, for example, you got an email and with the job, and which is like out of your you know, like comfortable zone, you're gonna be like messed up, like, oh, what I'm gonna do, and feel like an, you know, like an experience, like something new, which is completely open another doors in your career, in your with your skills. So be happy and be open for the new opportunities. This is something which really drives me and and makes me every day really an amazing, you know, time. So, okay, I'm thinking we're going to have like, wow, not much time. So I'm just going to, maybe on the first, I will show you guys, because there was like a question in the beginning, how I'm doing the light and the texture. So quickly, I will show the first on the shirt, and then I will jump on the hair, because as you can see, I prepared some basic sketch. And here is like the shape that I will work more. It reminds just a little bit when you're doing like a you know, like lino cuts, that you're just removing some stuff and then just adding some couple of lines. But let's start with the jumper, with the shirt. So I'm just first of all, of course, I need to build the shape. So when I have the lines like over here, I'm adding some shape. So I do it with the brush. Maybe I will show it like here.
And Greta, you mentioned earlier that you only use about 3 brushes.
Yeah.
Are these brushes that are standard, you know, within Photoshop, or are these ones that you downloaded and brought in yourself?
Photoshop, guys, there's so amazing brushes. I'm just amazed how many amazing stuff is there. So I don't have like desire to use any other. As you can see, this is my brush for the lines, and this is my brush for the for doing the patterns, you know. So here is like this, and you know, then you can like make the shape like whatever you want, and you're changing the opacity, of course. Oh wait, because of on the same layer. But like this is the really basic, really 2 basic brushes that I'm using all the time. So to make those dots and to make lines. That's the super basic one. But to be sure how it looks like on the picture, so I separate the layer. Here is the color. sometimes I play with the opacity as well, and you know, to get to know the color, is it correct or not. But after it, I'm just doing another layer. I'm taking the amazing brush, which is this one. It calls spatter brush, and I'm reducing the opacity because in the beginning I don't want to be like really harsh. I just want to have a feel of the light and feel of the, you know, of the structure. And I'm just adding like this with, you know, with the different I think I will change the opacity because it's just the beginning. It's just the first layer. I'm adding like, you know, like with this, like with the shade, or it's like 3 layers, even more. So it really depends. It really depends if I'm happy about the effects. Sometimes, for example, I wish to have like a deeper, you know, effect of the texture. So I'm working more. For example, right now I'm changing the size of the brush because here is like two big dots. So I wanted to like have it smaller because smaller dots, it makes the different effect as well, as you can see. And this is just the, you know, just the basic one, just the first layer to feel the, for example, I know the light is coming from this side. So I'm putting the more shade more over here. Yeah. It's going to be like, here's going to be the head, here's going to be, but also from this part, because I know that, you know, the person is standing. So here it cannot be like just completely flat. It has to be like, I need to add more.
And I think you mentioned earlier in the stream that you did a lot of life drawing. I know Gareth asked in the chat if you did a lot of life drawing to get that good, because you're very good. Yeah.
I mean, I must say that it really helps me to go to academy, because I was studying in Polish academy in Warsaw, and there was like a lot of live drawings that you can study models. It was just amazing, especially that it's not about the young people. It also, I'm amazed by like older people, how they, you know, how they look. So I really appreciate that time that I could spend there, like just a couple of years, just to observe and just learn how people are different, how they are beautiful, and how I can learn on them, you know. So, and especially on the big size, like we are drawing on the size like 1 meter and 70 centimeter, or even wider. You can like prepare even wider sizes. So then, you know, and then you have to build from like really fast sketch to more detail. And it really helps me to like understand how I can build my illustration on Photoshop. But I must tell you guys that I really enjoy to learn on the comics as well, because I'm a comic freak, and before I was studying in academy, of course, I was studying all the, especially manga, how people are, how they drawing people. So I must tell you that my main skills come from this area. So I just trying to be inspired by them and repeat the same effect, you know. And then I realized that, it's so great, you know, to actually I jumped from the comic to the real people, you know, like comic was a direction in which I would like to go, and then I realized, wow, it's about us, it's about the people. So
it really comes through that you can see that comic style, you know. And in some of the work you showed earlier in Behance, lots of your pictures were in animations. Are you doing all of that in Photoshop, or you're not using another app like After Effects or anything?
I was happy that I could use Photoshop as well. I'm happy that animator that I was working with accept the files with the Photoshop, and I was happy about this as well, because I mean, probably if, you know, the brief will come, okay, do it in Illustrator because it's easy to do animation. There is no problem about that, but still probably I will do the sketch in Photoshop, because it's just much more easier for me. But you know, there is no no basic like problem, but if I will do like more detail oriented, probably I will ask, is it possible to do it on Photoshop? Yeah. Because sometimes like especially I have this privilege to work with amazing animator Jola Bankowska, and she was doing like 2D animation just in Photoshop, and she animated one of my illustrations. It was like pretty amazing. So it depends on the animator probably which tools they're using, and just be helpful for them. So don't be too radical about the tools. If think about the final effect. If you can help somehow the animator and prepare the files in a different program, why not? I mean, if the effect will be still amazing, so I'm happy to do this. So yeah,
it all comes together though. It looks so good when it's all finished in that portfolio. Really good. So whilst you're doing that and you're adding the shade, I want to tell everybody about what we've got coming up on the live streams this week, because of course today is Monday, the start of the week, and this stream has flown by. It feels like we've been chatting for 10 minutes, and it's actually been 51 minutes already. I can't believe it. I know, guys. So it's going fast, and this week will definitely fly by. On Wednesday, we've got a really fun session planned for you with Joe Allen and our very own Tony Harmer, covering some Premiere Pro and After Effects. So I know somebody in the chat, Gareth, would be very excited to join this one. And they'll be covering Mogart files, so motion graphics, which is really good. And then on Friday, we have a session with our very own Sophia and our guest Sophia Purser. So two Sophias covering entrepreneurship and creativity. So some great streams to join. And it's a very special day on Friday because somebody who is leading our streams every day, often behind the scenes, but sometimes in front of the camera as well, is Tim Mobest, and it's Tim's birthday on Friday. So I think everybody in the chat should join us in celebrating Tim's birthday all week. As I told him, it can't be one day. You have to celebrate all week.
I agree completely with that.
So yes, happy birthday, Tim. I'm starting it now, Monday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so good. But this has been great, Greta, today. Like, we've covered a lot, and so many tips that you've provided. I can see in the chat people are saying, I'll take this on, definitely.
Oh, thanks, guys. I'm super happy about that. I hope that it's going to be useful. Sometimes you can start with my tips and just discover something new for yourself. Just start doing it. Do not think too much about the final effect. Just enjoy what you're doing. And then the final effect can come, really in a completely different direction. So I'm happy that I can be just a small part for the inspiration of your work.
No, it's so good, because I think this is what's great about Adobe Live and the streams, because we're speaking to amazing artists. I mean, your work here is so good, Greta, and you can, as you say, provide. Oh no, honestly, I mean, it's so good, and all of the tips that you're providing. And I think one thing that I've taken from our conversation today is that to find what you really love doing and your inspiration, and take it from everywhere around you and add that to your work. So as you say, going out and looking at textures, what people are wearing, how they're drinking, how they're sitting, how they're eating, all of those things really do make a difference to your final design.
Exactly. And you can catch some kind of magazine as well about the fashion, about the food, about the cinema. I really enjoy watching cinema and just grab something, how the light is coming, and it's really, the inspiration is all around you. So just be curious about it, and then, everything's going to be amazing.
No, it definitely is. And then finishing this image off then here, what steps have you got left to complete this then? Because
wow. So we don't have much time. So we have 6 minutes. So what I did some simple shading on the jumper, but probably I would work it on this more to make it more smooth, because it looks like this. So it's just, the first step. What I will do next, probably I will just reduce here the color more. But, it's just searching the effect that I really like, and then of course I prepared to do the main thing with the hair, because this is what I wanted to show you guys, but we don't have much time right now. So as you can see, I just prepared a simple sketch, and then to make a simple shade, like for me, do not miss the shape that I wanted to do, because sometimes when I'm starting to do the hair, sometimes you completely forgot what is what, especially when you go more into the details. So I would like to have like, you know, like a shape of it. It looks like a hat right now or something, which is not like a hair actually.
Yeah.
But still I have this, you know, this sketch. So, you know, and even right now it gets Greta, not bad. Maybe I will use it, for example, in the next illustration, just to separate, you know, do not use the lines, but just add some shading, you know, and to build the portrait, you know. And sometimes the idea can really comes unexpected. But okay, but go to the point, because we're not gonna finish this. So if I have something like this, I'm just grabbing, for example, I know, eraser, and I will try to build, and I have this original with me when I'm, okay, is this and this, okay. So, oh, sorry, I will do this like this, and I will erase something. I would just build, you know.
Nice, you can see there, just with an array, it's just simple, and yeah, looking good.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to just sometimes I'm just adding, for example, I need to change the brush for another, and change the colors, of course.
Oh, and I know everybody in the chat, I know that I think Tim linked a book, I think Sandrine linked a book in the chat in regards to the colours and the colour swatches earlier on that you mentioned, Greta.
Yeah.
So that's linked in the chat for anybody that wanted, you know, really good tips on colour palettes and
yeah, definitely. Guys, especially that I just bought like on the Amazon like some time ago, but I'm pretty sure it's still available.
Yes, I think someone said Waterstones. It's available via Waterstones as well, which is a UK book.
Perfect.
Love Waterstones. I used to love going in. I miss that, you know, going to sit in a store, have a coffee.
Soon, guys. I hope soon it's gonna be okay. So what I'm doing right now, so I'm just gonna rid of this, you know, this really strange geometrical shape to make it more like, you know, like a hair. So our hair is not like in a straight line, they're really in a mess. So I'm trying to do it like in this way.
It's very choppy, isn't it? Very
yes
choppy.
Exactly, but still, of course, I need to like more work on this. So this is like just the basic stuff. And I'm trying to like build some parts, because it's not one part. Sometimes this is the first part, like new to the face is another part. And for example, I'm always adding the last touch with some hair, which is like going, you know, like on the face. But this is like, you know, this is the last touches. So it looks like here pretty strange, because I still probably need to work more. But you know what I mean, that
you can see
that's the, you know, that's the last steps of the work. And here, of course, I need to build like how it actually looks like.
The gap in the fringe.
Yeah. So yeah, it took definitely like more time, as you can see. But yeah, I'm really happy to. I'm a really detail-oriented person, so I really enjoy. It's like a, you know, it's like a meditation. You know, it's really can makes you really happy in the way.
No, it's really come together there. It really looks good. And I know we're almost at time now, Greta. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining and sharing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I hope that some of my tips stay with you. And remember, just be inspired by everything what is surrounding to you. and don't stick with my words. Just let it be just the beginning, and then with your own passion, just let the doors open and just go for it. And I think it's going to be amazing, and you're going to share the effect with us and on the Behance. I'm thrilled to like see it.
It's so good to have you on, Greta. Honestly, your work is amazing.
Thank you, Maddy.
Great as well. So thank you. And everybody, will see you on the Wednesday stream with Tony and Joe. Speak to you soon. Bye, everyone.
See you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Romance have done to me. I'm not the same. Can't you see what love and romance have done to me? I'm not the same.